You can't just make yourself in charge because you want to be in charge. We're talking about our nation is going through what is supposed to be the peaceful transference of power. I don't know how peaceful it is. I don't know how transference it is, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the peaceful transference of power. Power is transferred, not created, not self-induced. It is transferred from one to the other. Somebody has to convey power unto you. Transference of power is the very reason that John pointed out Jesus when he was standing in the Jordan River and said, "Behold, the Lamb of God." He pointed him out. He empowered him. Transference of power. Then after that, he says, "I must decrease that he might increase." Transference of power. Why are you teaching this? We are in the middle of the change. The changing of the guard, the changing of the world, the changing of times. We are right in the middle of not just the charge, not just the challenge, but we are in the middle of changing. Change is uncomfortable. My wife, when she was grieving the loss of her mother, I told her the only thing you can do is be to the kids what she was to you, thereby keeping her alive in your behavior. She died, left you in charge. The older saints are passing off the scene. You're in charge. Are you ready to grow up and stand up and be the person that you were created to be? Or are you stuck in the student's role, knees locked up under a desk, books up under your seat, and you don't know when to get up out of that chair and walk up to the front of the class and teach the course? Let me go, Mama, I got it. No, my time of tutelage was not over. I failed because I left too soon. The prodigal son fell because he went too soon. We are seeing massive failures out of good people making bad mistakes because they went too soon. Paul says, "I will tell you when to go. Now is the time to go." I can tell it's time for you to start because I'm empty. I can tell that you are full because I'm drained. I can tell that you are ready because I'm finished. Do you have a who in your life that pours into you, that builds you up, that strengthens you, that's preparing you? You need that in every area of your life, and they don't always have to be the same person. The person who mentors me in the faith might not be the person who mentors me in finances, might not be the person who mentors me in exercise, may not be the same person who mentors me as a husband. But for every area that you hope to be excellent in, there has to be somebody that pours into you and then decides when they're ready to give you the charge, the challenge, and the change. And then he says to Timothy, if that were not startling enough, if that were not enough to digest, that I have to be what I saw and that I have to show up in the world as my teacher and not as his student. That I have to put on my daddy's shoes and make them fit. That I have to be a grown woman. That I have to be a grown man. That I have to stand up to life. If that were not daunting enough and intimidating enough and enough to make you fall down on your knees and humbling enough to say, God, without you, I can do nothing. Without you, I would fail. Without you, I'd be like a ship without a sail. If it were not enough to make you do that, if it were not enough to drop you to your knees, if it is not enough to get you off of Instagram, making all kinds of crazy posts because you think this is fun. This is not fun. This is life and death. This is not about you. This is about Jesus. This is not about getting people to be attracted to you. This is about getting people to be attracted to Jesus. This is not that willy-nilly stuff that I see passing for ministry today. It's not. Reproof, rebuke with all long suffering is not this willy-nilly stuff that we see to get attention.
It's easy to get satisfied where we are. When we've seen blessing and favor, God's protected us, promoted us, opened doors, we can start thinking that we've seen our best days. But God never does His greatest feats in your yesterdays. They're always in your future. The scripture says the path of the righteous gets brighter and brighter. What God has in front of you is more fulfilling, more rewarding than anything you've seen in the past. But sometimes before it gets brighter, it gets darker. Before we see more than enough, we go through a season of not enough. There are times the good has to come to an end to make room for the best. Doesn't make sense to us. Why did my business slow down? Why did this person walk away? Why did this door close? It's all a part of God's plan. He's shaking things up to move you out of the good into the best. If He didn't close those doors, you wouldn't see the fullness of your destiny. We may not like the process. It's uncomfortable. We're doing the right thing, but the wrong thing is happening. We're working hard, but not seeing increase. Thoughts will tell you it's never going to get better. Don't believe those lies. That disappointment, the breakup, the slow season didn't stop what God has for you. It's getting you in position for favor that you've never seen. Your relationship didn't work out. God knew it was going to happen. That didn't catch Him off guard. He's already lined up someone better than you can imagine. Your business has slowed down. The contract didn't work out. That setback is not stopping you. It's setting you up for new levels. You're going to come out not like you were before, but healthier, stronger, promoted, increased. John chapter 2, Jesus was at a wedding in Galilee. There was a big celebration with hundreds of people. Everything was going great until they ran out of wine. His mother came and told him about the problem. Jesus had not performed any miracles in public up to this point, but she knew something about Jesus that others didn't know. She told the staff to do whatever He asked them to do. There were 6 large water pots over to the side. They held 30 gallons each. Jesus told the men to go fill them with water. I can imagine them thinking, what good is that going to do? But instead of talking themselves out of it, they filled the containers and brought them back to Jesus. He said, now dip some out and take it to the host of the wedding, to the man that's in charge. Verse 9 says, when the host tasted the water that was now wine, he called the groom over and said, usually a host serves the best wine first. Then when everyone is full, doesn't know any better, he brings out the less expensive wines, but you have saved the best until now.
You have something special. You're born for such a time as this. This is a time that we need to be concerned but not consumed with fear, as many people are consumed with fear right now. Or many people are being reckless and just don't take this seriously. Your life has value. Your life is a gift. Life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals and dreams, this is a time to look at yourself as Angelica talked about and put in the work, put in the work that's necessary to develop yourself mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And part of what I'm doing now is spending a lot of time creating new ideas, creating ways to earn money virtually from the computer, because the computer eliminates geography. So I'm not getting on any more planes. Over 11,000 people have tested positive flying. Well, that's not happening to me. So what I'm doing now, if you got a story, we're going to share with you how to tell that story, how to create an experience with that story, how to hold attention with that story and transform people individually and collectively. And the proof is in the pudding. That's why I want you to see someone that has been in the program and see how well she handled herself. And you can do that too. Just the statement by Steve Jobs, the storyteller, is the most powerful person in the world. Why? Because stories transform people. People hunger more than for food and for water. They hunger for stories that can lift their spirits, particularly now when you're inundated with like 5,000 hits on our minds every day, advertising, different messages, trying to get territory, set up camp. and renting space in our minds. We have to carve out a place that we take care of ourselves. I'm encouraging you. 1, listen to positive messages. 2, turn off the television. 3, do something creative. I'm taking singing lessons. I'm training speakers, and I'm exercising. I'm about to take yoga and qigong and working on me. And I'm looking for someone who has some edges that can cut my kid flat top.
I'm the why guy. I don't know why you do what you do. What is your motive for action? What is it that drives you in your life today, not 10 years ago, or are you running the same pattern? Because I believe that the invisible force of internal drive activated is the most important thing in the world. I'm here because I believe emotion is the force of life. All of us here have great minds. You know, most of us here have great minds, right? I don't know if I'm in the category, but we all know how to think. And with our minds, we can rationalize anything. We can make anything happen. We can, I agree with what was described a few days ago about this idea that people work in their self-interest. But we all know that you don't work in your self-interest all the time. Because when emotion comes into it, the wiring changes in the way it functions. And so it's wonderful for us to think intellectually about how the life of the world is, and especially those who are very smart. We can play this game in our head, but I really want to know what's driving you. And what I'd like to maybe invite you to do by the end of this talk is explore where you are today for 2 reasons. 1, so that you can contribute more. And 2, so that hopefully we can not just understand other people more, but maybe appreciate them more and create the kinds of connections that can stop some of the challenges that we face in our society today. They're only going to get magnified by the very technology that's connecting us, because it's making us intersect. And that intersection doesn't always create the view of everybody now understands everybody and everybody appreciates everybody. So I've had an obsession basically for 30 years. And that obsession has been what makes the difference in the quality of people's lives? What makes the difference in their performance? Because that's what I got hired to do. I got to produce the result now. That's what I've done for 30 years. I get the phone call when the athlete is burning down on national television and they were ahead by 5 strokes and now they can't get back on the course. And I got to do something right now to get the result or nothing matters. I get the phone call when the child is going to commit suicide and I got to do something right now. And in 29 years, I'm very grateful to tell you I've never lost one in 29 years. Doesn't mean I won't someday, but I haven't done it. And the reason is an understanding of these human needs that I want to talk to you about. So when I get those calls about performance, that's one thing, like how do you make a change? But also I'm looking to see what is it that's shaping that person's ability to contribute, to do something beyond themselves. So maybe the real question is, you know, I look at life and say there's 2 master lessons. One is there's the science of achievement, which almost everyone in this room has mastered to an amazing extent. That's how do you take the invisible and make it visible, right? How do you take what you dream about and make it happen? Whether it be your business, your contribution to society, money, whatever it is for you, your body, your family. But the other lesson of life that is rarely mastered is the art of fulfillment. Because science is easy, right? We know the rules. You write the code, you follow the, and you get the result. Once you know the game, you just, you up the ante, don't you? But when it comes to fulfillment, that's an art. And the reason is it's about appreciation and it's about contribution. You can only feel so much by yourself. So I've had an interesting laboratory to try to answer the question of the real question, which is what's the difference in somebody's life if you look at somebody like those people that you've given everything to, like all the resources they say they need. You gave them not a $100 computer, you gave them the best computer. You gave them love, you gave them joy, you were there to comfort them. And those people very often, and you know some of them I'm sure, end up the rest of their life with all this love, education, money, and background, spending their life going in and out of rehab. And then you meet people that have been through ultimate pain. Psychologically, sexually, spiritually, emotionally abused, and not always, but often they become some of the people that contribute the most to society. So the question we got to ask ourselves really is, what is it? What is it that shapes us? And we live in a therapy culture. Most of us don't do that, but the culture is a therapy culture. And what I mean by that is the mindset that we are our past.
I want to talk to you today about unclutter your mind. We're tempted to live guilty because of past mistakes, bitter over what didn't work out. We wonder why we don't enjoy life, why we're not passionate about dreams, why we can't sleep at night. It's because our mind is cluttered. You weren't created to live worried, guilty, bitter, upset. If you're going to reach your destiny, you have to clear out the clutter. You can't stop negative things from coming, but you can keep them from staying. You don't have to hold on to it. When we make mistakes, guilt will come. Condemnation, telling us how we don't measure up. You can hold on to it, go around down on yourself, or you can let it go. When you go through a disappointment, something doesn't work out, you can hold on to it, live discouraged, or you can let it go. When the medical report is not good, when the contract doesn't go through, when you're in a legal situation, you can hold on to it, live worried, thinking, what am I going to do? Or you can let it go. You can clear out the clutter. You can get rid of the negative things that are stealing your peace, taking your joy, draining your energy. The scripture tells us to guard our minds. You have to be proactive when it comes to keeping your mind in peace, because all through the day there's clutter. There's noise, there's jealousy, there's hurts, there's offense. They may come, but you don't have to hold on to it.
Reinterpreting our past. Understanding and knowing that we can move from where we are. That we can begin to design the kind of life that empowers us, that gives us happiness, that enable us to be on top of who we are. Knowing that as we begin to explore new horizons and new vistas in life, that as we begin to focus on developing ourselves, as we begin to elevate ourselves and not to follow the crowd, activating the thinker in us and disciplining and putting on hold the emotional part of ourselves. It's not easy, but through practice and practice and practice, practice makes what? Practice makes improvement. You can always better your best. You can always go beyond anything that you have ever done. You'll never hit a state of perfection. You're always bigger than what you do. And so all you're looking for are new breakthroughs through practice and practice and practice. You'll get better and better and better. And there's still some things that will happen to you that will catch you on the blind side that you did not anticipate. You'll get knocked down, but you won't be knocked out. You'll be able to get to your feet again, be on the ropes, but you'll have a fast recovery rate when you work on yourself.
Hard work matters. Why does hard work matter? Well, hard work matters strategic because if you make more phone calls, you do the old adage, right? Show up earlier than everybody else, leave later. But there's something more deep about that. Yes, making more phone calls, seeing more people, being more active, being busier, putting in more hours into something always gives you a strategic chance to be more successful in this because you've increased your odds. You've talked to more people, you're more likely to get more prospects, you're more likely to get more clients or recruits or candidates for your business. So yes, strategically that increases your chances. But something powerful happens when you do things other people aren't willing to do. You begin to believe you deserve to have things other people won't have. And that's what gets you a seat at the table of success. Now once you're there, it's a dogfight. It's a dogfight of skills and talents and luck and faith and circumstance and blessing and all that stuff. But just to get to the table, to get into the room, you have to believe you deserve to be there. And so again, I want to say this to you. The hard work part plays into shifting your identity. That over time, not even that long a period of time, when you're doing the things others are unwilling to do, you begin quietly to begin to believe that, oh, I deserve to be rewarded in ways these other people aren't going to be rewarded because I'm doing the things others won't do. And so the fastest way to change your identity, to change our belief, is just to flat get to work, to flat get there earlier, to flat leave later, to just make more calls, see more people, be more relentless, just pour ourselves into the work, because actually the hard work can in reverse impact our identity. And that's what begins to happen. When you start to do those things they won't do, you begin quietly to change your belief. That you begin to believe, oh, I deserve to sit at the table with these other people who do the things other people aren't willing to do.
That there's a responsibility to freedom and that there is freedom in responsibility. You know, and that earn your way there. We remember the stuff we earn, the stuff we experience, more than what the teacher tells us or what someone gives us for free. We just do. We broke the proverbial sweat on it, whether it was mental or physical or whatever. We built it. We understand. We felt how we got it, how we achieved it, how we got what we wanted. Those stick with us. Whether we forget them intellectually, they were written in our lineage, and they build resilience, and they build a healthy, true optimism going forward to know that, oh no, I've worked for something before and achieved it. Delayed gratification. Oh, There are choices I can make today for myself that will pay me back later in life. Mailbox money, as we call it in the entertainment industry. ROI. There are specific personal choices we can make, and they're worth considering. Look, I'm all for hedonism. I'm all for immediate gratification too. Sometimes it's like, yes, dude, it's Halloween. Eat all the candy you want. Go for it. It's not going to become a habit day to day. There's certain nights where you're like, hey guys, tonight we're going to blow it out. The walls are padded and we got nothing. We're off work on Monday. Let's go. You know, I mean, certain times to say that's okay, but there's, you know, where is the selfish choice, the selfless choice? Where is what we want actually what we need? Where is what we need actually what we want? Where is the best choice for me, the best choice for we? Where's the best choice for we, the best choice for me? That's the place, I believe, talk about honey hole, that's the real place to go forward in trying to find. Tee ourselves up for those green lights in the future. And the simple thing, let me bring it down to really simple. You drink coffee? Do you prepare your coffee, put it in the filter, and pour the water in the coffee maker the night before?
Not for myself, but ironically, I do for my wife.
Because you're teeing her up for what? A green light the next morning.
Correct.
So she doesn't have to come in and go, where's that filter? She can just come in and go, doop, press the button. You're giving her a gift to her future self. You're making something easier for her. It's a very simple thing, but it's a great little simple metaphor. So there are choices we make. If you're going to say right now, I'm going to lie, cheat, and steal to get what I want, and I got it. I got an immediate green light for me. That's a battery-powered green light. That's not a solar-powered green light. Why? Because now, everywhere I go, I got to look over my shoulder to see if someone's there that I lied, cheat, and stole from. And when I'm doing that, I'm stealing whose time? My time. Now I'm not freedom. I'm not free. I don't have the freedom. I didn't create freedom in my future because I chose to make an irresponsible act that I left crumbs. I've now got reasons to look over my shoulder. And the more things we do to create in our future that we got to look over our shoulder, the more of our most precious thing we have in our lives, time, that we're stealing from ourselves. So it's not puritanical. It's just like, it's actually self-serving. It's a very selfish choice. And I'm a fan of the word selfish. I've helped redefine it. But I believe that there are selfish choices we can make that are the most selfless, that there are selfless choices that we can make that are the most selfish choices. Those two are not a contradiction, and we see them that way. Responsibility of freedom and the freedom in responsibility. Life's more than just straight Saturdays with as much cake as you want to eat. It just is. We'll see how long you last doing that, if you really do it. You won't last that long. Responsibility is appreciation of a past. It's building of a lineage. It's investing in ourselves. It's investing in something we started to build yesterday that we want to take into tomorrow. There's a response that gives us freedom. So to actually have true freedom, we have to be responsible, more responsible for certain things, for ourselves, who we are, constantly investigating and interrogating our better selves to say, I'm going to be a little bit better at this tomorrow, knowing that we never land. There's no ta-da moment. And that is one thing I think we all got to watch. We all are so result oriented. Oh, if I keep doing this, I'm going to get to that place of pure enlightenment. I'm going to go, ta-da! Bullshit. No, you don't. Can it be a small ascension of evolution? Yes. But there's no ta-da moment. We're always chasing yet. And if we can get comfortable and understand and laugh and be ready to work hard at the fact that we're all just, if we could just say, we're all just achieving our way to the unachievable. And that's as good as it gets. And that's pretty damn awesome. That's the honey. It's the third time I've said that in this talk, but I love that word.
This is what people need to know is like, you know, even if you've been working for 10 years on something, because you've been working on your craft for a decade as a monk and then just teaching in schools and then corporate life and then HuffPo, like you've been working behind the scene for 10 years. It can take, you know, a few pieces of content or one piece of content that will be the thing that sets you off with momentum. You know, someone like Rachel Hollis, she spent 10 years writing books and doing events with a few hundred people max. And then one piece of content, a book, launched her. And you had these videos that just, they all launched. and it took you to another level. So in this book you have now coming out, it's going to be a game changer. I was just reading through it again before I got here. And I was just like, there's so much great information in this, but it's wisdom from the years of practice and years of experience. So that's what I think people need to know is like, if you're a creator, if you're someone who's got a gift inside, all it takes is one piece of content for you to really pop. So just keep creating. And that's what you've done beautifully. You keep showing up.
Man.
So you make up what the future is. If your present is painful, you can escape to the past and get out of the pressure to change. How many follow this? Say I. Or you can escape to a future because no one knows what it is for sure and you can make it up. But if your brain links it's been painful in the what? Past, in the, and it's even worse in the, it'll change like that. Who here has ever stayed in a relationship that you knew was not right for you? It wasn't right for you, it wasn't right for them. Who has ever stayed in a relationship way too long? Who's done this before? Raise your hand, say I. It wasn't good for you, it wasn't good for them, yet you stayed. Why? Why? Because even though it's painful in the present, what'd you do? You said, it'll get better over there in the future. Who finally changed? Who here finally changed that? Say I. How'd you do it? Your brain went, it's painful now, it was painful in the past, it's gonna be worse in the future, that's it. That's what I call a Dickens pattern. When you lock in pain in all those places, there's no place to escape, so you change. It's like if you put a wall here, and a wall here, and we close them in on you, amazingly, you'll move forward. That's what we're talking about. Giving yourself leverage on yourself that way, not having someone else do it to you, you do it to yourself. That's when you got the power in you.
If you look at a business, the chokehold on the growth of any business is always the psychology and the skill set of the leader. And it's 80% psychology and 20% mechanics, meaning so many small businesses, the owner might be an incredible innovator. Maybe they write incredible code. Maybe they're a tremendous influencer, but they don't know the economic side of their business, right? And they find themselves getting in trouble because somebody's giving them financial information after the fact. They don't have true financial intelligence to make decisions, and they get caught up.
Can you give me an example of a business like that? You don't have to name names.
Yeah, no, I'll pick my own examples. I had several companies early in my career that were near bankruptcy because I would sit down and I knew how to produce products that would change people's lives. I knew how to market. I knew how to build teams of people, but what I didn't know was finance. So I'd look and say, okay, how are we doing? I go, oh, you got a 20% profit. You got $2 million in profit in those days, little tiny company. And I come to the end of the year, there was no cash, right? I didn't know that profit is a theory, right? And so just not having that skill, or someone might be really great at finance, but they're not any good in marketing. So sometimes it's a skill problem, but 80% of it, you can solve those skills. You can get those skills if you can change your psychology. But when you accept that, oh my God, the market's down, or oh my God, the economy in our area is down, when you allow the environment to control your psychology, you're not going to win. I always tell people, I said, tell me your schedule. And they'll go, well, I go to work and I work 9 to 5 and I come home, I'm exhausted. And so, when am I going to start a business? I said, well, what about the other 8-hour shift? Because that's what I did, right? I had to be able to work from 8 to 5 in a normal job. And then I started working as a janitor because I worked my own hours in the middle of the night. But I worked 8 to 5 and literally I'd come home, I'd get a bite to eat, and then I'd start my work at 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. And I go from 6:30 to 2 a.m. And I'd get another 7-8 hours in. And that's how I built everything in the beginning. That's honestly what's required. And to not do that is to cheat yourself. Because in the end, what we get will never make us happy. It doesn't matter what you get. Doesn't matter whether it be money or opportunity. All those things might excite you for the moment. Even a relationship, as magnificent it may be, might be exciting for a while. But if you don't keep growing, that relationship isn't going to stay exciting. So the secret to real happiness is progress. Progress equals happiness. And if we can make progress on a regular basis, we feel alive. And that's why at the beginning of the year, we get this thing like, okay, I can have this fresh start. I could really do what my soul desires. I could expand. I could grow. I could improve. I could change. Or maybe better than change, I could progress. See,
Think about that. Progress is an aliveness to it, doesn't it? You don't have to work at changing. People say all the time now, well, I'm working on changing. Don't worry about it. You don't have to work on changing. Change is automatic. Your body's going to change whether you want it or not as the years go by. And no matter how hard you work, there's going to be some changes going on there. And the economy is going to change no matter what you want it to do. The weather is going to change. Relationships are going to change. Everything in life is always changing. We don't have to work on change. Change is automatic, but progress is not. So if you want to make real progress, then you really got to look at your life in a different way. You got to say, I got to take control of this process and not just hope it's going to work out like people do who make a resolution. Progress equals happiness. If you're not growing, you're dying inside.
It takes courage to enjoy yourself. What are some of the self-defeating behaviors that we become involved in that prevent most people from enjoying themselves? Some people develop the "what's the use" attitude. Why bother? Some people have the "I really don't care." And they convince themselves that they don't care and they don't feel anything. And after a while, they really don't feel anything. Their lives are empty. Some people say, well, it's really not worth the hassle. Just too hard. It doesn't bother me anymore. The fact that I'm not living out my dream. The fact that I'm capable of doing more and I'm not doing it. The fact that I'm content but I'm not fulfilled. The fact that I'm not living my dream. Tom Rusk and Randy Reed, in a book called I Want to Change But I Don't Know How, said people go through life many times playing it safe. He says that's the secret hope, that they say to themselves, if I never let myself feel too good, maybe I'll never get hurt too badly. A lot of people don't ever do the things they're capable of doing because they allow themselves to go along with the crowd. Following the crowd. Many people have things they want to do, and they find themselves in relationships with people who are addicted to mediocrity, and they allow their behavior to influence their behavior. Following the crowd. Many people don't do it because of the fact that they allow their lack of self-confidence to immobilize them. I remember when I wanted to go into business for years, that was an agonizing thought in my mind. I wouldn't try because I didn't believe that I could make it. Of the 5 things that you would like to do if you had the courage to do, I want you to pick one thing. Pick one. And here's how to set it up for yourself that will help free you and get you unstuck. What is the worst thing that can happen if you do it? So what's the worst thing that can happen? Let's say going into business for yourself, or changing careers, or getting a divorce, taking some kind of chance of something that you've always thought about doing, but you just haven't done it for whatever reason. What's the worst thing that can happen? Do the worst case scenario. Now, when you do the worst case scenario, you write those things down, the worst things that you fear would happen. When you name your fears, that puts you in control. What are you afraid of? Name it, write it out so you can look at it. Confront that fear. What is it? I'm afraid that things might work out. What else, Les? Well, I've never been in business, okay? What else, Les? Well, I don't have all the help I need, okay? Good. What else, Les? Well, I don't have enough money, all right? Good. What else, Les? Well, I don't have a college degree. What else? I'm not as good as those other guys that I've seen up there speaking, okay? What else? Well, that's all I can think of right now. Okay, good. Now that takes you to the next step. What are the benefits? What are the benefits of your acting courageously, taking life on? Well, part of what happened was that I felt better within myself, and I had a strong sense of self-respect. Going into business for myself, I made a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I was down on myself. I felt stupid. I felt dumb because people who were in business said, why would you do something like that? Well, I didn't know. Boy, were you really dumb. And I used to chime in with them. Yes, I guess I was. I didn't know any better. But the other thing is, I had to say to myself, but I did it. I did, even if I made a flop of it, I did it. I took the chance. I took the leap. What are the benefits of your acting courageously? Whatever it is that you've identified, write the benefits down and then focus on them. Focus on the benefits, not on the liabilities, not on your fears. Focus on the benefits. That which you hold in consciousness tends to manifest itself. Think about how good you feel. Think about the level of increased self-respect, the sense of self-worth that you'll feel. How good you feel getting up in the morning, looking yourself in the mirror because you're taking life on. The other thing is acknowledge your fears and then go into action. His book is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. That's it. See, I believe anybody who's ever done anything, who's ever taken a chance, doesn't mean that they're not afraid. Courageous does not mean being the absence of fear. I think that being courageous is willing to do it because that's what you feel and you're going to do it anyhow, regardless. You're not going to be immobilized by your fears or your doubts. You admit, okay, I'm scared to death. Now, okay, what is it that I must choose to do? Go ahead and experience that fear, but don't let that fear immobilize you. In what you've done with your life thus far, is it giving you what you want? Is it giving you what you want? When you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here, is there some place within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena. I know I can do more than what I've been doing. I know there's some great music that I have within me that I haven't brought out here yet. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself?
Life is not just a passing of time. Life is a collection of experiences, their intensity and their frequency. Here's what else your game plan must include: your lifestyle. Here's where we plan to go. If you don't put it on the calendar, if you keep doing it like I used to do years ago, called someday. Here was the other one: as soon as. See, that means almost nothing. I tell my girls, as soon as. They knew this wasn't, probably never. As soon as we get ahead, as soon as you get a little extra money, as soon as. There's a lot of things you cannot wait till as soon as. You got to work them in to your game plan. And just commit yourself to both the lifestyle and the business activity and your career. Career, lifestyle, family, spirituality, health, all that's important in your game plan. And here's what's difficult: to try to keep it all in your head. Because the head is full of good intentions. The head is full of hope. Oh, it's going to work. As soon as we get this paid off, it's going to work. Say, no, let's put it on the game plan. Right? I talked this morning, right? Someone says, I got my to be debt-free worked out. I've been working on it 1.5 years, and within a couple of years, it'll all be done. Oh, nothing. My father said that. Let's get a plan for you to be debt-free, debt-free, debt-free. Because Papa said, there's nothing like the freedom of no one having a claim on your assets. I said, well, I want to get there someday. I remember the day I crossed the line, debt-free. My parents left me their estate in Idaho. Guess how many debts? 0. Nothing. Not the automobiles, not the farm, not the land, not the house, not the properties, nothing. 0. Isn't that a bit unusual? But isn't that a bit exciting? Unbelievable for somebody to have that kind of unique consistency in their plan, wanting to leave it debt-free. Don't have to worry. It's incredible. So, you work on a plan for debt-free. You work on a plan for your investments. You get a game plan that'll work for you so that all the bases are covered and the balance is right. Yes, it's going to get out of balance. When you're balancing your time, here's what you must remember. Sometimes you must work around the clock like spring. Round the clock. Why? It's springtime. So a lot of things have to be set aside till the spring is finished. Or until the harvest is in. Because you can't postpone the harvest while you do some fun things. You got to do the harvest and then do some fun things.
Your biggest enemy, the most important conversation you will ever have in your life is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you're going to act on it, whether it's good or bad. You have to. That's why the whole thing about this book I have, it's about you. It is about you. It's strictly about you finding who you are. So many people die, live 100 years, never know who they are. Never know who they are. You have to look in that mirror and know there's so much more in here, man. Because I can literally right now be a 300-pound guy spraying for cockroaches still to this day. If I did not look in that mirror and say, there has to be more to this. This can't be it. And then willing to go into it, dive deep into it, and give all I have to find it.
The law of Goya is simply get off your ass. So if you think and you believe and you emotionalize, you visualize, and you create your plan for how am I actually going to achieve this? So what do I need to do? When am I going to do it? How specifically? How am I going to tweak it, measure it, and iterate it so that I'm consistently making progress? I learned the value of progress versus perfection. None of my mentors ever had me focus on perfection. They had me focus on progress to just keep getting better. Little incremental gains every day, every week, every month, every quarter. And even when you move backwards a couple of steps, what's the progress that you made and what you learned? So I was taught that failure is an opportunity to learn. And I was also taught to disassociate me being a failure from failing.